welcome to the Logan County District 2 Commissioner Candidate Forum, presented by the Greater Guthrie Chamber of Commerce, coming to you live from the Woodcrest Fire Department. Tonight's moderators are Chris Evans and Brittany Timmons. There are three candidates running for Logan County District 2, which include Wayne Elder, Floyd Coffman, and Charlie Meadows. Now let's go live inside the Woodcrest Fire Department for tonight's forum. Here's Chris Evans and Brittany Timmons.
Good evening, everyone. Before we officially get started, I would like to invite Sloan Vaughn up to open us up with a word of prayer.
All bow your heads and join me in a word of prayer, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to live in a country that is still free. And we invite all of those that have eyes to see, ears to hear, and a heart to love. And in this community, we know that we are America. And I would like to thank all of those that have come here to pay attention, to learn, and to be honorable with the opportunity to hear the three that will be running for County Commissioner for Logan County. I thank you for the opportunity and the love, and God bless America.
Amen.
Now we would like to invite James Hull with Meridian Fire to lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Good evening and welcome to the Logan County District 2 County Commissioner Candidate Forum. That's a mouthful. My name is Brittany Timmons and I'm the President and CEO of the Guthrie Chamber. I am joined this evening with Chris Evans of Guthrie Newspage and the Legislative Chair for the Chamber. First of all, I would like to say thank you to our friends at Woodcrest Fire Department. We appreciate you opening up your space and assisting us with setup and everything that we need. These events truly are a team effort and we are so very appreciative, so thank you. Also with us this evening helping us with audiovisual is our friend Aaron Ryburn. Thank you, Aaron, for all of your assistance. Without you, this would not be possible, so thank you very much. At the Guthrie Chamber, we feel it is very important for us to help our community by offering forums like these so the public can learn more about each of these candidates. We not only serve the community of Guthrie, but also our entire county. So we hope after this event tonight that you will feel more informed.
Hello, welcome. I'm Chris Evans, and welcome to the County Commissioner Forum. I would also like to echo Brittany and thank the Woodcrest Fire Department for being gracious hosts, and also everyone in the audience this evening. It's a great turnout, and we were blessed with beautiful weather. Thank goodness Charlie told me about mosquitoes, so if it's mosquitoes, it's on Charlie. So I didn't think about mosquitoes. I just thought it's going to be nice and comfortable tonight here. So, and we also want to thank those watching online as well. This is a good reminder. If you have not done so already, please silence your phone so we have no distractions and give our full attention to our candidates. Thank you. This past February, Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt called for a special election on June 13th following the resignation of the Logan County District 2 Commissioner Cody Ellis. Three candidates filed for the open seat and are now campaigning for the vote of District 2 residents. The election will take place June 13th for registered Republican voters. When elected, the new commissioner will serve the remainder of this four-year term, which expires December 31st, 2024. Now, let's meet the candidates. Introduce yourselves and tell us about you and your family, and we will let Floyd do that first.
I'm Floyd Coffman. I've lived in District 2 for 27 years. My wife and I, Billy, we married 36 years this year. We have 3 daughters, 4 grandchildren, 3 son-in-laws. Can't leave them guys out. And that's about it.
Thank you.
Yep.
My name is Wayne Elder. I grew up here in Guthrie, Oklahoma. Graduated, went to school to Oklahoma State, studied business, and I am married to a beautiful woman named Jenny Elder. And if you have ever needed to rescue or save an animal around here, I'm sure you've met her or donated one to her, and somehow it ended up on my farm. So.
Thank you, Wayne. And Charlie?
Yeah, my name is Charlie Meadows, and my wife and I and my brother and sister-in-law and their 3 children, their dog, their 4 puppies, and their cat all moved out here. And they lived with us while we built a home for them. In 1990, I ran for the state senate against Enoch Kelly Haney, a fantastic American Indian artist, but I thought he was a lousy senator. And so in a district with only 21% Republican registration, I ended up getting almost 44% of the vote. The party said you have no chance if you don't have 25%. Anyway, I've lived out here for a long time. My brother and his wife have 7 children, ended up with 4 more. And they have 23 grandchildren, and I believe that they have 2 more on the way. My wife and I have 31 nephews and nieces. I can't even tell you how many great nephews and nieces we have, but it's a bunch. So.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Our candidates will have 2 minutes. They won't take up 2 minutes every time, but we want to get as much information as we can from them. We will now have our opening statement. We drew numbers before, and then as you see them in order on your left to right, Floyd 1, Wayne 2, and Charlie 3. We'll alternate questions from here on out. And with that, we'll have a 2-minute opening statement, beginning with Floyd.
Like I said before, I lived in the county for 27 years. I've seen some good, some bad in the road situation. I was chief of Meridian Fire Department for 10 years. We were always able to move up and down the road back in those days. And then after that commissioner had left, the roads seemed to start depleting at that time. And I just feel like I've been driving on these roads all this time, and it's time to make an improvement. It's time to. We have absolutely no ditches on our roads. I mean, all of you guys know that. And without drainage, you can't have a road. Plain and simple. The water's going to sit there. You're going to develop potholes. And that's where we got to start. We got to get the ditches. We got to get a road base. We got to get a crown. And that's the only way we're going to get anything accomplished. It's not going to happen overnight. It didn't get in this kind of shape overnight. So there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. So ever since I was old enough to walk, I have been called to serve in many capacities. And that is one of the things that happened when this came up, that we needed to fill out this term. I was called and I said, I will do it. And so I decided to get out there. I started looking at the county and saw the things that I assessed that I thought were wrong. I'm a data person. I take in data, I observe it, I make decisions. I'm a decision maker. Now, the worst decision that you can make is indecision. And so there will be mistakes, but I do think that there are more things than just the roads that we need to concentrate on. Our infrastructure is subpar, and that's something that we need to fix. And I know that all of you feel it. I mean, you drive on it every day just like I do. So those are the things that I want to concentrate on. I want to concentrate on bringing in more revenue. It is very important. I also want to concentrate on grants. I know that we are not taking advantage of them. I know that we're not taking advantage of long-term planning. And those are the things that I will do when I get into office.
Thank you, Wayne. And Charlie.
Yes, when I realized in January that this was headed toward a special election and I made the decision to run, I've spent about 50% of my time developing a political strategy and working to carry that out to win this race. The other 50% of my time I have spent trying to understand the problems, the needs, the situations in the county. And I will tell you this, that I have attended almost all of the county commission meetings since January. You can view those online, but you don't get the opportunity to talk to the commissioners and others that are there after the meetings. I've also talked with Laura Thomas, our DA. I've talked to Jeremiah Gregory, our assistant DA, about legal issues, and I still have some more to discuss with him. Talked to Mark Sharpton, talked to Troy Cole. Mark Sharpton's the District 1 Commissioner. Monty Piercy, District 3, I've talked to both of them. Troy Cole is one of the most knowledgeable people that there is here in the county. I've talked to Miles Davidson. I'm actually having lunch with him. He's the commissioner in Oklahoma County. Believe it or not, I've talked to Dr. Everett Piper, commissioner up in Osage County, brand newly elected. I had reasons to talk to him about that. Rhonda Markham, the commissioner over in Payne County. We actually border with her. One bridge by road. Other than that, it's all the river. And also with John Perkins, with Warren Catt. As soon as this election's over with, if I win this, we'll be discussing purchasing some of our equipment that we need that's in lease right now and about to go out of lease. I've talked to the representative with the P&K over in Kingfisher. We've got a tractor with a boom mower on it that breaks down more than anything we have. It's worn out. I've talked to Zach Smith many times. Zach is a road foreman. I hope you guys have taken advantage of asking Zach. He's giving me so much information, and regardless who wins, if you don't retain Zach, you're an absolute fool, in my opinion. I've talked to Ira Barrow. Okay.
Yeah,
and I'm just two more here.
Okay, real quick.
On the fair board, and Lori Pierce. Lori was immediate past first deputy, and I learned a lot from her last Saturday.
Thank you, Charlie.
Okay, next question. We will now start with Wayne. What is a county commissioner to you?
I think it's probably changed over the years, and the reason being is I think that part of it is because we've become a little bit apathetic and complacent as citizens in our county and what we demand of our county commissioners. The county commissioners are in charge of the budget for the county. They're in charge of making sure that we get the roads taken care of in the county. They're in charge of so many things, but the thing that we concentrate on most is the roads. And so we just talk about roads all the time. And everybody just talks about your road, right? And so it's one of those things that I think we need to demand more of them besides just roads. They need to be figuring out ways in long-term planning for this county, because the growth is coming. It's not stopping. And I feel that we haven't asked that enough of the past county commissioners.
Okay, thank you. Charlie?
Yes, county commissioners, there are 77 counties. Each one has 3, the highest governing board in the county, unless you're Oklahoma County, which operates under a budget board. Anyway, I believe that it's primarily administration job, and that's something that I've had a fair amount of experience. I was on the hospital board for off and on for 8 years in a highly politically charged situation. When the hospital was sold, we had a little over $8 million, and I urged the commissioners at that time to put that in a trust and to let 90% of the earnings of that trust become another revenue source for roads. It has been depleted some. If I'm elected, I'm going to try to urge the commissioners to build that back up again. The reason you only use 90%, you want to reinvest 10% so it continues to grow and it becomes a dynamic source for ever-growing amount of money. So those are some of the things that we obviously have problems in the courthouse. We've outgrown our courthouse, and we need to do something with that. Fortunately, we have some funds left over from COVID, about $6 million, that we can actually use to solve those problems, and looking forward to working with the other commissioners, trying to come up with the best situations we can. Our fairgrounds, unfortunately, is in a flood zone. About every 5 to 7 years it floods, and then we have to go in there and spend a lot of money, new sheet rock and things like that. I don't see that we have the money to move that right now, but it would be a lower item on the totem pole, priority-wise.
Thank you so much. Floyd?
I think a county commissioner is an administrator, a leader, and a representative. Represents all of the people of the district, regardless of their needs. I think the county commissioner should be the first call and the first one to answer. Leadership, you got to be able to motivate people, keep them interested. If they're not interested to do the job that they're doing, or if they're not happy to do the job they're doing, they're not going to do it. And they're not going to do it right. On the administrative part of it, they have, like Wayne said, they run more than just the roads. They got to take care of all the county budgets, all the county business. All of it's approved through them before it goes any further. They need to, I lost my train of thought on the administration. I guess we'll end it right there.
All right. Thank you. All right. I don't think we'll need 2 minutes on this one. Hopefully not. But next question.
Need 2 minutes
Do you
on
consider yourself a politician? Charlie, you
I
get to
have
go
been
first.
involved in politics for over 40 years now, and I have run for political office back in 1990, as I mentioned. After that, shortly after that, I formed an organization called OakPack that's now in its 31st year, and it is the premier conservative club in the state of Oklahoma. And so, yeah, I'd have to be a politician. Very, in fact, on my new business card, political consultant level 1 is one of the services that I offer.
Perfect. Thank you, Charlie.
Floyd?
I never realized how much politics there was in this county until I signed up for this. I'm not a politician, no. Don't want to be. I'm not the guy you want to vote for if you need a politician.
Thank you. And Wayne.
I think there's only one politician at this table. And it's funny, I'm so far out of the loop of being a politician that everybody kept asking, why are your signs blue? Aren't you Republican? And I said, yeah. And they said, well, why are they blue? And I said, well, it's one of my favorite colors, and it's easier to read. So I am not a politician, no. So.
All right, thank you. Okay, next question. And also, I would like to add that we did ask the public to submit questions. So these are questions that have been submitted to us from possibly your future constituents. So next question, and we'll start with Floyd on this one. What job do you have now, and would you be willing to quit that position to become a full-time commissioner?
I'm in the right-of-way business. I have been for 36 years, and I won't be in that business if I'm elected. This is a full-time position. It's a working position. How could you not do this job full-time?
Thank you. Wayne?
I am partners in multiple businesses. I will not be selling my businesses in order to be county commissioner. But I do think what it does is it gives me an advantage that I am always doing, making decisions, and I have employees in several states. I have employees in different time zones. So I am always available on the phone talking to people. So no, I will not be selling my businesses to be county commissioner.
Thank you. Charlie?
I fully retired June 1st of 2018. I'd been in the window cleaning business for 44 years. My wife and I took a little trip to Alaska, spent 97 days on the road, spent all summer of 18 in Western Canada and Alaska, got back and had to be responsible again, so we built another home. I sucked at being retired, so I started a new business, and I'll tell you the services that I offer. Life coach as from the perspective of an ordained minister, level 1 political consultant, public speaker, MC, debate moderator, radio talk show host, vendor representative at trade shows, professional window cleaning since 1974, seasonal Santa Claus. If anybody needs a Santa Claus, I can fit that. And then the last thing is historian and personal travel guide. And what I did is divide the state up in 4 quadrants. I list about 35 points of interest in each of those quadrants. Anyone's interested in a tour, contact me. I'll send those to you. You pick the quadrant you want. And once you do that, then we'll sit down and pick the 8 or 10 most interesting things that you want to see in a 1 or 2 day tour. So. And I won't be doing any of those but the trade show, and that's only 4 a year on weekends.
Charlie might be grading us on our moderation skills, so we gotta be good. All right, our next question, we'll start with Wayne. This June 13th election is to fill the remaining 2 years of this term. Do you plan to run again for the next full term that begins in January 2026?
Win or lose, I will keep running until I get this county in the position that I'd like to see it in. So, yes.
Thank you. Charlie?
Yes, I will run for re-election. First, I wasn't for sure whether I would or not, but once I saw ODOT has the rebuild of the Waterloo I-35 on their 8-year plan for starting in 2025, I knew at that point in time I needed to run for one more term. I really want to be a part of overseeing that and participating in that.
I have a sneaky suspicion that will be one question coming up here in a little bit on Waterloo
Okay.
Road, so ready for that. Floyd?
Yes. Yes.
Sweet to the point. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to another topic here. And this question we will start with Charlie. Have you ever worked or constructed a road before? If yes, tell us about your experience. If no, tell us how you will look to do so. Also, can you operate equipment or have the knowledge on how heavy equipment works?
Okay, I started on a road grader when I was about 5 years old with my grandfather when he owned a road grader, plus had the road grader for Sentinel, Oklahoma, but we won't count that, okay? And I actually have a tractor, box blade. I used to maintain our road all the time. I used to maintain part of Simmons Road at times. As far as large equipment, I have not operated that before. My job is to hire people that can operate that, make sure they're trained and things like that. And you know, OSU as well as Caterpillar offer free training for any road graders, and any of our men that need to do that, I'm going to make sure they do that. I'm going to go through the training myself, because if I don't know the principles of doing a good job, how will I know whether the men are doing a good job or not? So.
All right, thank you. Floyd?
Yes, I can operate equipment. I can operate a track hoe, backhoe, bulldozer, any skid steer type equipment, just about any tractor. I have not been on a new style road grader. I think now they're all joysticks. I've not been on one of them, but I'm pretty sure I could pick it up pretty quick. And like Charlie says, it's really the job of the commissioner and the road foreman. I don't know what they call him over there, first general or something or another. It's their job to hire the right people through the interview process and make sure you get the right people that can operate that equipment, build the roads. I have built roads. I've built access roads for right-of-way easements. Basically, it's the same principle. You got to have drainage. You got to have a road bed. You got to have a surface. You got to have a crown. So.
All right, thank you. Wayne?
I must have grabbed the wrong application, because I get this question all the time, and I was like, well, I didn't know I was interviewing to be a road grader. But I do get this question, and it is one of my favorites, because I do find it fascinating that I have one of the most successful aviation companies in the world, yet I'm not a pilot. Does that mean that I don't know how to operate my business? It's the same thing with this. And just like both of these guys mentioned, it's project management. And I've got multiple projects going all the time. So I have ran a dozer, I've ran a track hoe, ran plenty of tractors. I've never ran a road grader. So please don't base your decision off of that.
Thank you. That was the first question of roads and bridges here in this topic here. Staying with roads and bridges, and we will begin with Floyd on this one here. Waterloo Road off Interstate 35 has become populated with additional businesses and soon more housing. The Oklahoma Department of Transportation in 2021 announced a future Diamond Interchange project to assist traffic flow. Of course, that's on Highway 35. Now we have to exit off the highway onto 1 mile to the east at Pine Street and 1 mile west of Sooner Road. Your thoughts on what needs to happen on Waterloo between Pine and Sooner?
Well, I've actually had some discussion about this with some people, and when that begins, the state will set up obviously every detour site every detour road, they will manage those roads. Now, other roads that fall beyond those, obviously, we're going to have to take care of them. And we're going to have to make sure, and the more traffic that's picked up there, those roads would get more attention than other roads, I'm sure.
All right. Thank you. Wayne?
Oh, this is a scary situation. It's already an issue, and I find it. I mean, I don't know if any of you work in the city and drive, in the evening times, but when you get to Waterloo, it is just a nightmare. So he's absolutely right. It's not so much what's going on right there. We have to take care of those roads on the outside, or we're going to have some real issues. And flow of traffic is very important. I am curious. I've heard all kinds of things about what they might do, and this and that, and they bring up roundabouts, and I love roundabouts. In Ireland, roundabouts are the amazing thing, and on the opposite side of the road. So we'll see what happens.
All right. And Charlie?
Yes, it is going to be a diamond interchange. It's not going to be a roundabout. They're going to six-top I-35 and put this diamond interchange underneath that. So those bridges on I-35 will be much longer as well as wider. ODOT initially, they don't normally do this, but initially said they would help widen Waterloo to Sooner on the west and Pine on the east. That's really important that we do that. Kevin Calvey and some of our previous commissioners didn't get along all that well and put that thing at risk. That's the reason I'm having lunch tomorrow with Miles Davidson. Going to try to reestablish a good working relationship with him. And it's not just there. Waterloo is the busiest road in Logan County, or District 2, outside of I-35, which we don't have a lot to do with. But Waterloo is the busiest road, and it needs a lot of help in a lot of other places too. And so I'm looking forward to working with Miles tomorrow. I think probably there will be detours. I would suspect Timmons might be one of the roads, and there's 2 half-mile sections of Timmons from Sooner over to Douglas that are unpaved, and I'm sure those 2 half-mile sections will have to be paved, and I will do everything I can to get ODOT, if that's an official detour, to help come up with the funding for that.
Thank you. Okay, next question, and we'll start with Wayne on this one. Can you please share your knowledge of how funding works for county roads and bridges?
It's funny you said that. I called Troy when I was thinking about doing this, and she said, everything you know about business budgeting, just throw it out the window, because it's pretty much useless when it comes to funding for the county. It is complicated. But I also don't think that we are turning over every stone in seeking other funds. The grants in District 2 have not been taken care of for a long time, and we need to be applying for those. I was reading, I think it's the Oklahoma Transportation website, and they have their 5-year plan on there. And it's embarrassing to see all these counties around me that have 1, 2, 3, 4 projects in each county going on over the next 5 years, each year. And Logan County maybe had 1 or 2. That's embarrassing. And that's something that I'm going to change.
Thank you. Charlie?
Yes, that's really important. I know when Mike was first elected, he hired Wayne Murphy to be his first deputy. Wayne understood that you can't get grants to pave roads if you don't have data. So he put the counters out, and once they got the data, then he applied for the grants. Most grants have a period of time before they expire, and they have anywhere from 15 to 18 desks to go through before they're finalized. And Wayne realized that once you have the data and you get a grant process started, you can't just trust a bureaucrat to move it from one desk to another. So he would push those along, and that's how Mike got 18 miles of roads paved in his first 5 or so years that he was in office. And so I want to reinstitute that. I think all that data has been lost. It wouldn't matter if it's lost or not. The growth has been so tremendous down here, it would be obsolete anyway. So that's one of the first things we got to do. And if I can talk Wayne into coming back to work, He just retired as a county assessor in December. If I can talk him into coming back to work for at least 6 months, part-time or whatever, to help get that started, teach us how to do the data, where to put those counters and what that means to ODOT and things. Those are things that I want to do. One final thing is, once we have the sales tax, the county sales tax, and it's 3/4 cent, the sheriff gets a third of it, the fire departments get a third, we get a third.
Time's up. I promise you that's the
We're
question
coming up with
up.
another one.
And that's
Okay.
the one question I would have.
Okay.
All right, Floyd.
Stay tuned, folks.
So the ways the county roads are funded right now is like Charlie just mentioned, the 1/4 cent sales tax or the 3/4 cent sales tax that the districts get 1/3 of. Also the fuel tax, the state fuel tax, money comes from that, and there's, I think it's called production tax. There's a tax there. It's not a great deal of funding from the state or from the county to take care of roads. I think District 2 has about 400 square miles or 400 miles. I'd have to look at my map again. I think one of the guys mentioning a while back that the district gets or the county gets like $30,000 a month or something like that, and that has to be split 3 ways. Well, you can't hardly gravel a mile of road, you know. If you're going to split $30,000 3 ways, you get $10,000 to lay down on the roads. There's just no money there, and everybody wants a blacktop road. So as Wayne said, grants, you gotta go for the grants. And I've had some experience with grants when I was chief Meridian Fire Department. I know how that works. It's been a long time since I'd messed with them. I retired in 2010, but the grants are there. And we just need to go get them. There's a lot of money there we need to go get.
Thank you, Floyd. And our next question is for Charlie. And there's some treasures here in District 2. The Lazy E, Woodcrest Fire Department, and Charter Oak Elementary School are 3 primary of those that bring several motorists to the area, including buses and large trucks to the area. Where does Douglas Boulevard and Charter Oak rank on your priority list, and what are some of your other biggest concerns with road conditions in District 2?
Well, the Lazy E generates more money for the county, Logan County, than any other entity here. And you've got, well over $100,000 trailers that, horse trailers and all that are pulling in and out of that place all the time. Certainly the interchange at Forest Hills and Douglas, that needs to be lighted permanently, and I think it needs a little bit of remodel also. As far as Charter Oak School over here, at 3 o'clock during school time, you can't pass the county road. Parents have blocked that off, and as soon as, if I get elected, I'm going to meet with Dr. Simpson. I've got an idea of possibly trying to get the parents to pick their kids up on the back side of the school. If we can put a road around it on the back side, and we'll see about doing that. What was the other one that you mentioned?
Other road priorities outside of that one.
Okay. So I will tell you that Westminster is a very high priority for me because it's one of the few roads that goes from Highway 66 all the way up to 33. And so improving Westminster is very high on my priority. Obviously, your busiest roads are Sooner. Douglas is one of the busiest ones up to a point. And then Douglas further up is not nearly as busy, but it carries an awful lot here. Pine carries a lot. I live on Pine. It's already paved. And Anderson Road is another high priority. East-west, Charter Oak is important. I forget the Prairie Grove. I suspicion, but we'll know once we put the counters out what type of volume that has. So while the majority of the money is going to go to meet the needs of the largest number of people, we've got other people out that have very little traffic, and they deserve at least a road grader once or twice a year and some gravel on those roads. So
Thank you, Charlie. Floyd?
Obviously, the school is a high priority. due to safety issues. And something needs to be done about this road. I don't know if there's a possibility of finding grant money to widen that road. Like Charlie said, possibly putting the road around behind it so the parents can go behind the school. As far as the Lazy E, they bring, like he said, the most money into the county. So if we got to do something with Douglas off of Waterloo and go in that direction, I think there's some money to be found at the Lazy E. I think they put in a lot of money when they put this road in out here, or when it was paved. So I mean, those are definitely priorities. Past that, every road in this county is a priority, because every person in this room and every person that lives in this county or that don't live in this county, they have the right to be able to get to their property in a safe manner and without tearing the pieces out of their car. Now, obviously, I moved to where I live now 37 years ago. I moved because I don't like the concrete. I don't like the hustle and bustle. I like the quiet. That's going away, not by my choice. These people are coming to us. So you can't put a road grader on every road every day, but at the same time, you can put a road grader on every road more than twice a year. So that's going to be divided into quadrants or maybe even fifths, and a road grader will be assigned there, and they'll be there the entire time.
Thank you, Floyd. Wayne?
So you bring up an interesting one when you talk about the school at Charter Oak. So that's one of my issues that I have in what I've seen so far, is that hindsight tells us we should have done something with that road in front of Charter Oak when we built the school. We need to be more proactive than that. We need to find and see these problems before they happen, right? Because now we're going to have to go spend extra money that we really don't have to fix that road and fix that traffic situation there. When it comes to the other roads of the county, the most important roads to me are any that our emergency vehicles travel down. There is just too many fire departments around here that have to travel down these roads, and this equipment doesn't last forever, and it just keeps getting more expensive. So we need to take care of it, and the best way to do that is to take care of the roads around there. Now, I don't know all the situations in District 2. I'm actually a former District 3 guy, and they redistricted it a couple years ago. But I had a district yard that was 25 miles away from me, and I saw the grader more than I do now. And that's something that we need to talk about. We need to talk about it with our operators and make sure that they're following a sound schedule that puts them less miles of road miles, right? And out there actually grading instead of just driving to the location to start grading. So,
Thank you. Okay, like we said, these questions were submitted by constituents. So when I say I, doesn't mean Brittany Timmons. It means it can. You'll laugh when I say why. But this next question, we'll start with Floyd. Do you plan to do anything with all the overgrown trees in the ditches? This constituent drives a crude oil truck, and so many ditches have trees hanging out in the road. There's often no way to get over without hitting branches that could potentially damage their truck or trailer. They also restrict visibility at intersections. So what is your plan for the overgrown
intersections are a big problem. You got to have sight distance. You got to be able to see, obviously, when you come to an intersection. As far as trees hanging over the road, man, that's a lot of work, and that's a big problem. That some of that can be taken care of if we are able to reclaim ditches. Obviously, some of that'll be moved. I've heard in the past that the county has cleared fence lines for people as long as all the trees were pushed onto their property. So that gets some of it cleared off. But out where I live, especially in the wintertime, when we get snow or ice, it stays forever because of the trees, because of the shadow. So obviously that's not good for the roads either. So it's something we need to do. This slash buster machine that got sitting right out here, that's not the answer, obviously. I mean, that thing, you just, it's either not the answer or the operator's not the answer, one of the two. But it needs a different kind of mower head on it. It needs more of a drum mower head so that it can take care of the tree limbs, get them back further, and and be cleaner about it.
Thank you. Wayne?
He nailed it right on the head. We do talk about that it's a visibility issue, but he nailed it when he said the sun can't get down to the roads, and those roads stay wet and soft for a very long time because there's no sunlight getting to them. It's very important that we clean up those ditches and clean up those tree lines. So I'm in total agreement with Floyd on this one.
Thank you. Charlie?
Yes, well, we have a boom mower. It's sitting right out here. It breaks down more than any piece of equipment we have because it's absolutely worn out. We've contacted the John Deere dealer in Norman. We can buy a new one for $183,000, or the one over in Kingfisher, they're wanting $178,000 for it. It's a much better boom. It extends farther. It transports more safely, and that's one of the high priorities to get that. One of the questions I don't know is whether or not I would keep this other one at the same time, or whether or not I would trade it in. It kind of depends on the value there. But I will say this, we had an operator, had an accident recently, and backed into a semi that pulled up behind him, and so he had to go for a drug testing. He tested for marijuana, so we had to fire him. And we don't have a replacement there. So if there's any of you young folks out here that's needing a job or something to that nature, we're going to need another operator there. It's vitally important that we get that thing and get it moving at this time of the year particularly. It's really important.
Thank you. And all these
Was that a hand going up there, sir, that you? No.
I think all these questions are very important. If I had to pick one question to ask you guys, this would be the question for you. And I know a lot of people are hanging on to this question as well. And we will start with Wayne with this one. Currently, Logan County has a 3/4 sales tax that is split three ways. 1/3 to help fund the jail, 1/3 for roads and bridges, and 1/3 for the county fire departments. There's 13 here in Logan County, 6 in District 2. This tax is set to expire December 31st, 2024. Two questions. Is this sales tax adequate, or should the sales tax be raised or lowered? And what are your top priorities for a future sales tax? And with that, Wayne.
So that has been one of the things that I've talked about most out there that I think people are forgetting in this whole county commission race is that sales tax does expire. And, you know, you talk about it, it generates between the three of them about $100,000 a month between each of those taxes. And so if you got 13 fire departments, that comes out to about $7,000, $8,000 a month. Are they wasting it? I don't think so. Do they need more? Probably so. And as far as the roads go, it's not a lot for that district, or for the district to use. So I do think that we need to look at the tax. We need to look at what we've been able to do with the tax. Believe last time it was voted on a 10-year roll, but it was combined together. We can no longer do that. It's going to be 3 separate votes, and one of them may pass and 2 of them may fail, and that's going to be a problem. So yes, the tax is very important to me, and that'll be one of my main things next year is making sure that we come up with a tax plan that makes sense for the citizens.
Is 3/4 just right? Needs to be higher? Needs to be lower?
I don't know. I don't see waste. That's the problem, right? But I think those fire engines, I know that they can get upwards to, $500,000, and these fire departments have to figure out a way to fund those, and the expense to work on them is just astronomical now too. So I don't know if it's the right amount. It may need to be a little bit more, even though we have one of the higher tax rates in the county. Problem is we don't shop here enough, and so it's hard to generate revenue off of the county sales tax if we're not spending money here.
Awesome. Thank you, Wayne. Charlie.
Yes. So Wayne mentioned the log rolling. I would not support log rolling like it was done before. Each of them need to stand alone. I will vote and support each of those at the current rate. I am a conservative. I don't believe in raising taxes. I believe in using what we have more efficiently and more wisely. That amount is growing very rapidly. Last year, it was about 1.4 million for the county commissioner, so each commissioner got a little bit less than $500,000. That will grow every year. What we're seeing down here at Waterloo going in is going to be many more sales tax dollars that are generated. As a matter of fact, Caterpillar just bought 14 acres there, and they're going to move their operation here. Now, if I buy a dozer or a grader from Caterpillar as a county commissioner, we don't pay sales tax. But every independent contractor that buys something, they're going to pay sales tax. That's the reason they moved here, because we have such low sales tax. Overall, everybody pays 4.5. We have 3/4. But in Oklahoma City, you got to tack on the city sales tax, or any city. So that's the reason they're moving here. And that's going to grow. I know that Mr. Brown is a developer down there. I've already met him, talked with him. I actually have some articles that show that Winco sells groceries for less than Crest and less than Walmart. And if elected, I'm going to go to him. I'm going to take these articles to him, urge him to solicit Winco to come in and put a grocery store there. If that happens, we will see a lot of people from the Edmond area coming up and spending sales tax here. Edmond will want to annex it. Guthrie will want to annex it. I'll fight that effort from either one of those directions, because they won't provide services for us down here. It'll just cost us more if they do that. And anyway.
All right. Thank you, Charlie. And Floyd.
So this is something that's
That would be good.
I'm pretty close to, because in 2000, the fire service, the Logan County Chiefs Association, got on the ballot the first 1/4 cent sales tax. And when I joined the fire department in 1987 or 97, we had a 2-car garage, A-frame 2-car garage, and we had to stack hay bales in front of the doors in the wintertime to keep it from freezing up. We had people stealing our fuel, stealing our batteries. Every person in the town of Meridian had a key to our trucks. So we got the sales tax passed, we got a grant, and we built a new fire station up on Highway 105. We started buying our own equipment. We always used forestry equipment. We had to get the trucks from forestry, and then we had to build them ourselves. That was going to go for 5 years, that sales tax for 5 years. And after that first 5 years, that was supposed to drop to 1/8%. Now, I'm not about adding taxes, and I'm 110% for the firefighters. I'd go fight fire with them today. And the roads obviously need help. But I'm also a man of principle, and when you tell somebody, we're going to do this for 5 years, and then we're going to go to 1/8% for maintenance, I think you need to keep your word and do what you say you're going to do. And this log rolling, as Charlie called it, yeah, everybody needs to stand on their own on that end of it. I think Wayne's right. This equipment isn't cheap. If it says fire on it, it costs a ton of money. And any of you guys been in the oil field, you know that as well. If it says oil field on it, John Deere on it, it's a lot of money. But the taxes do need to be negotiated.
So you said the current 3/4 should be lowered?
3/4 is too much. We pay too much sales tax. How you going to get business in this county if you're paying 3/4 cent? I mean, we're sitting at 9.75. Am I right on sales tax? 9 point.
Not in the county. It's 5.25 in the county.
It's not in town, in Guthrie. Correct. It's 9.75. That's what I meant to say. But the county, Guthrie's part of the county. How are you going to get business? Now, if you get them down here on Waterloo Road, or you get businesses out here, you're doing good. But it does need to be negotiated. I'm not saying eliminate it, but it needs to be negotiated.
All All right, thank you. I would also add the jail serves a big part of the funding for the general government.
I got more to say
General
about
fund,
that.
I should say. So we didn't touch on jail, but maybe maybe a little bit later on.
Okay, this next question, we will start with Charlie. In recent memory, the Board of County Commissioners have approved one tax increment financing, which is better known as a TIF, but have also discussed two others that saw no action. The last TIF project discussed was for Charter Oak Road from I-35 to Douglas Boulevard, and that was back in 2017. Will you be considering any future TIFs for your district?
Well, I probably understand TIFs as well as anyone in here. And there may be some locations that they would work. They won't work everywhere. And I'll give you just one example of one that might work right now, and that is the square mile from the corner of Charter Oak and Anderson, north 1 mile. Simmons and Anderson, north 1 mile to Charter Oak, then back to Simmons, and then back to Anderson. That square mile, there's a very large development going in there, and if you did a TIF district, it could pave those roads all the way around that square mile without costing the taxpayer a penny, if you understand how TIFs work. I oppose the TIF that was going to be done at where the development is going in right now, because the use of that TIF was going to be on that person's property. If you're going to use a TIF, it should be for projects that everyone can use. In other words, a right-of-way, widening a road, repairing a road, rebuilding, paving a road, something to that nature, but not roads on a person's private business. So,
Thank you.
I don't think I can give you a knowledgeable answer on TIF. I haven't looked into it, to any of that, so I'll just pass that on to Wayne. Something I need to look at.
I'm in between both of them. So it's another form of funding that we need to look at. And I am being serious when I talk about turning over every rock. I mean, we will be exhausted by the time we're done when we're looking at ways to fund the improvement of this county. And so, and you'll get tired of hearing me talk about it too. So it's a in-between answer is it's just another one that we need to look into. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, final question in the money and cent category. We'll start with Floyd with this one. The Board of County Commissioners have set aside $6 million of ARPA money to alleviate overcrowding of the courthouse and to allow more space for the court system and county offices. Can you share your thoughts and ideas of what you'd like to see done with the ARPA money when it comes to addressing the issue?
What is the money?
ARPA money, yeah, they got over a little bit over $9 million altogether, but they set aside, appropriated $6 million for courthouse or adding more space.
Well, I think it needs to be done. Obviously, the courthouse has been there probably close to statehood. You know, It's been there a long time. It's kind of dilapidated. I actually went there for jury duty one time, and I had to go up this spiral staircase that was built for short people, and got tired of banging my head on that deal, and I was glad I wasn't selected. But no, it needs to be taken care of. The courthouse needs to be renovated or moved. New courthouse built. Something needs to happen there.
Thank you. Wayne?
Are there any limitations or expirations on that money?
Just time-wise, I do believe. Is
Time-wise?
Yeah.
Okay. And how much time is that? Do you know?
sometime next year. I
Sometime
believe.
next year, about
Okay.
12 months away or so.
It has to be used by then
Started.
or
Yeah,
started?
started.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
appropriate.
right. So let's add one more thing that we need to get done. But it is something that I'd like to talk to the other commissioners about too, if elected. And I know there's only certain things that we can talk about without violating any rules, but it is something that I would like to see some sound plans. I think just going across the street and redoing that, I don't know if that's the right answer. But yes, he is absolutely right about the courthouse, that it is very dilapidated. And it is old.
Charlie?
Well, it's the first capital of the state of Oklahoma. It's one of the most historical buildings here, and we're going to have to do whatever it takes to restore that. But the real question right now is we've outgrown it for the judicial system. And that's the reason I've talked to Troy Cole. It's the reason I've talked to the other two commissioners. And by the way, we can talk to these commissioners right now before we're elected, 24 hours a day if we want. Once we're elected, that all changes, you know. But it seems to be, and I'm open to any ideas that are better, but it seems to be right now, take some of that $6 million, add an extension on the west end of the annex right now, move the county clerk and the treasurer over into that building, and that way you've got more jury room. You need another jury room, and then we've already just put in new doors, new front doors on it. There does need to be some money spent on the courthouse itself. Also, the building next to the annex, we tried to sell that for years. People come and look at it and they never return again. Probably it needs to be demolished, and there is a bid out there on demolishing that as well as building the new on that. But we've got to preserve the courthouse. So,
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to general government questions. If it's okay with three of you, just for sake of time, can we move down to 1 minute on these questions? These aren't as loaded as some of the. Yeah, these aren't as loaded as some of the prior questions. But if that's okay with you, then that's what we'll do. Okay, first question here under general government. We'll start with Wayne. Communication with constituents is always a top priority. How will you allow citizens to communicate with you?
I am a phone guy. I am not a big fan of emails and text messages, and you can ask my wife. I prefer to just talk on the phone. And so obviously my phone number is out there. You can reach me anytime. And then also I do think that the county needs to move to a way to put the news out there better. The websites are absolutely horrendous in my opinion. I'm a marketing guy, so I understand that for actually just a little bit of money, we can improve it and then improve our communication through all three districts can improve our communication with the citizens through those websites. So,
thank you. Mm-hmm. Charlie?
yes, since the 13th of March, which is the first day of filing, that afternoon I was knocking doors. I've knocked the doors of several hundred people in every part of this county. One of the things that I have done is offered for them, if I'm elected, if they want to give me their phone number and their email address, once a month I will send out a text and an email to them informing them of what we've done, where we're working, what we hope to do for the next month, and I've gotten several hundred people that have signed up for that. So that's one way I will do it. I'll just say this one thing. Probably the thing that I've heard the most about the previous commissioner is he showed up for work, he showed up at the commission meetings. He had to do that to get his paycheck. Rarely showed up to work at the yard, didn't like to take or return calls, and then many people have said when he did communicate with him, let's say he was less than honest. So one of the ways I hope to restore integrity here is not just not stealing from the county. I don't intend to do that. But I intend to show up, I intend to do my job, I intend to return phone calls, and I intend to tell people the truth even if they don't want to hear it. And I'll give you one example. A fella asked me just off of Coltrane about a yard here. Is that red? Because I'm colorblind, I'm sorry. And he asked me if I would pave his street out here. And I said, no sir, I'm not. He said, why not? I said, sir, I know you don't want to hear this, but I can show you many roads in Logan County that will have 25 times the traffic go over them in one day than your road does in a day. And that's where the money is going to go for paving roads, not here. Gravel, yes.
Thank you.
From day one, my phone number's been out there. Every person I've talked to, they have my number. Social media is a crazy thing. I actually got rid of Facebook 2 years ago, and my daughter said, hey, you got to get on this Facebook so you can communicate, or so you can get the word out to everybody. So my phone number's on Facebook about 4,000 times, My email address is there. Call me. I'll come see you personally. I have not a problem with that. I travel all over the state of Oklahoma every day. I'm in a different city in this state every day, and I will come and see you. I promise you. If I'm elected, Logan County is a pin drop to where I go every day now. I can come and see you any time of the day or night. I don't care. I actually had a friend tell me last week. He called up to the county office or to the county barn, and he pretty much got hung up on. I promise you that today, that will never happen to you. I guarantee it won't.
Thank you, Floyd. Charlie, you get 30 seconds on this one. Okay. Outside of roads and outside of Logan County business, what's the highest priority for District 2?
It's solving the problem at the courthouse.
Okay. Floyd? Highest priority for District 2?
Outside of probably this tax issue coming up.
Okay.
Agreed. The sales tax.
Well done.
Thank you. Okay, this next question will start with Floyd. What policies will you look to consider revising or implementing as the new commissioner?
Any particular policies that they're speaking of, or just what kind of? I don't know. That's kind of an open-ended question. I'll tell you what. Talking with Zach Smith, I know that our county employees don't make any money. They don't get paid anything. And I mean, you can almost go to McDonald's and flip burgers for $15 an hour nowadays. Wages there for the employees. I don't know if that's a policy for anybody, but that's something that needs to be looked into. And in order to have employee retention, you have to have a better wage. And I mean, they're paying a truck driver $15 an hour. You can go drive a truck for anybody for more than that. You got a Class A CDL, you got a job.
Thank you.
That's all.
That's all. All right, Wayne.
As far as, I don't know all of the employee policies, and that'll be definitely something that I want to find out. But I do think that we need to be advocates and cheerleaders for the employees that are there, because in talking to some of them, they are more dedicated than you ever know, and we're fortunate that they will do it for only $15 an hour.
That's terrible.
And it's not right for them. Do want to make sure that they are offered an opportunity to do their job in a safe manner with the right things that they need. So that's what I want to look at for them.
Thank you. Charlie?
One of the things that I have told Zach, I have no intention of coming in and making wholesale changes to start with. I want to observe how Zach has been running everything here. I intend to do a survey with all of the employees. I know that this has been done some other cases, and sometimes some of the best ideas have come from the employees themselves as how to make things different. I'm going to be have an open door for any employee that wants to come in and talk, discuss issues, whether it's work, personal, I don't care. I've done a lot of counseling over the years, and I'm going to be there for them. So no wholesale changes. As far as the wages are concerned, I'm told they're a little higher than what you guys are talking about right now. But I would like to get as much to them as possible. I intend not to take any pay raises from the time I step on the door, and no retirement funds, and all that is going for roads and or increased salary for the employees. I'm not a wealthy man, but I do get Social Security. I don't need that additional money.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this next question will start with Wayne. A local animal organization is looking for assistance from both the county and the city of Guthrie for a Logan County animal shelter. Please share your thoughts on this topic.
Is this your question?
Oh, this is not my question.
It's a hot topic, city and countywide.
I feel like I'm at home. So the animal situation has gotten out of control in Logan County, the strays, and we do need to do something. And I don't know. We've had some nonprofits that have stepped up to help, but they're in the process of going through issues themselves. I do not want them all to end up at my farm, but I have a feeling that that might happen if we don't seriously take a hard look at an animal shelter that is at least a processing center to get these animals to foster. So, yep.
Okay, thank you. Charlie?
Yeah, I believe generally speaking, that's something that cities do have animal shelters. There is and I think it's Free to Live. I'm not positive what it is in the southern part over in District 1 down there. But for the most part, I don't believe it's a proper function of county government. I'll listen to anything, but I'm not sure that I would do anything there. So.
Okay, thank you. Floyd?
I thought I was free to live. All the stray dogs in the county come to my house, it seems like. I don't have an answer for that. I know there's a lot of good people that take in animals, and it's a great expense. I mean, I've got 4 dogs that belong to my daughters, and it's a great expense for me to pay for them. I don't have an answer. I'm with Charlie. I don't think that's something that the county should invest in. As far as helping with the funding and stuff like that, I don't know. I don't have the answer for that.
All right, thank you. Coming up, where I have our final thing of 2-minute closing. Before that, let's give all 3 candidates a nice round of applause.
Is it over?
It might finally be over.
It's now time for our closing statements, and then we'll go back to 2 minutes with that. And given the first closing statement will be Charlie.
Okay. Well, everyone is gathered here tonight because this is a hiring process. You've gathered here, and I hope your intention is to determine the person that would be the person that is most prepared and would do the best job at this. And if you will intellectually, honestly evaluate the 3 of us tonight, I'm confident you'll make the best decision there.
Thank you, Charlie. Floyd, 2 minutes.
I think it's a great thing that we have this many people involved in this county government, because I didn't know. I didn't know anything about this before now, and I think you guys all need a round of applause for showing up here tonight. But I think you got 3 pretty good choices here, and I think you guys will make the right decision.
Thank you, Floyd.
Growing up in my grandmother's office, there was a postcard that hung on the wall, and it was a highway, and it had an off-ramp, and above it was a green exit sign, and it said, "Future, all lanes must enter." Well, we all have to enter the future, and it depends on how you want to do it. If you want the status quo, I am not your guy. But if you want something different that is going to make a difference in this county, in your lives for a long time into the future, then I am your guy. That's it.
All right, thank you. Thank you again. Thank you 3 for taking the time out and also for running. It's just a huge step for you to step up and say, I'm willing. So thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who watched online and also came here in person. We really, really appreciate it. This is a first for the Chamber to host a county event, and we plan to do more of it. We feel it's a great way for us to serve our community, and that's outside of city limits as well. We care about all of our citizens in Logan County, and we want to be a resource so that we can help educate the community, and hopefully you guys feel a little bit more informed after this evening. So also I would love to...
We have some signs here, and I imagine the other candidates too. If anyone wants to sign, see us. See my wife back here. Hold your hand up, Linda, and she'll take your address, because we'll pick them up after the election's over.
Okay, there you go. Thank you again for coming out. We do invite you all. You all are welcome. Again, I definitely want everyone to understand you don't have to live in city limits to be involved and to be a part of the Chamber. And so we want to invite you to Chamber Coffee. It's tomorrow at the Guthrie Public Library at 9:30. You're welcome to attend any of our events, and we look forward to hopefully serving you again in the future. So have a great evening, everyone. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for the Logan County District 2 Commissioner Candidate Forum, hosted by our good friends at Woodcrest Fire Department. A special thanks to Fire Chief Luke Young and all the firefighters. Tonight's forum was sponsored by the Greater Guthrie Chamber of Commerce. Community wins. Until next time, remember to choose Guthrie.